6 things women should never do with a man. Ladies, let me ask you something real, something raw. Have you ever found yourself doing things in a relationship that you swore you'd never do? Maybe you ignored a red flag, stayed silent when you should have spoken up, or bent over backwards just to keep the peace. Don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been there. But let me tell you, those little compromises can slowly chip away at who you are, your confidence, and even your happiness. And guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. Today, we're diving deep into 6 things women should never do with a man. And let me be crystal clear. This isn't about bashing men or placing blame. This is about empowering you as a woman to set boundaries, demand respect, and never settle for less than you deserve. Because here's the thing, relationships can be beautiful, but they're not supposed to cost you your self-worth. Here's what I need from you right now. Listen with an open mind and an open heart. Some of what I'm going to say might hit close to home. It might even make you uncomfortable, and that's okay. Growth often does. But if you stay with me until the end, I promise you'll walk away, not just inspired, but armed with the tools you need to create a stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling relationship, not just with a man, but most importantly, with yourself. All right, are you ready? Because I'm not here to sugarcoat things, and I'm not here to waste your time. Let's talk about the 6 things women should never do with a man, and why each one of these truths could completely change the way you love, live, and thrive in your relationships. Let's go. Number 1, never lose yourself to please him. Let me start with something we all need to hear. You are enough just as you are. Period. End of story. But sometimes, when we're in a relationship, it doesn't feel that way, does it? Suddenly, we start thinking that we need to mold ourselves into what he wants. Maybe dress a certain way, talk a certain way, or even let go of the things that make us who we are. That, right there, is the first thing you should never do with a man. Lose yourself to please him. Why do we do it? It's not because we're weak or desperate. It's often because we're kind, empathetic, and nurturing. We want the relationship to work. We want him to be happy. So, we start making these little sacrifices, skipping time with friends, giving up a passion, or keeping quiet about our opinions. But here's the harsh truth. Every time you shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, you lose a little piece of who you are. The danger of losing yourself. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine a woman who loves painting. She's got a small art studio, and every Sunday she spends hours there, losing herself in her passion. Then she starts dating someone who doesn't get it. He teases her about the mess. Or maybe he makes her feel guilty for spending time away from him. Slowly, she stops going to her studio. She tells herself it's no big deal. She can paint later, right? But over time, she realizes she's given up a part of herself that made her her. That's what happens when we prioritize someone else's needs or opinions over our own. How to hold on to yourself. Set boundaries. Early. If you love something, protect it. Your hobbies, dreams, and passions are not negotiable. Check your why. Are you doing something because it's true to you, or because you're trying to please him? Be honest with yourself. Maintain your independence. Keep your friendships, your routines, and the things that make you happy outside the relationship. Remember this. The right man will love you for who you are, not who you think he wants you to be. And if he doesn't, that's your cue to walk away. Number 2, never tolerate disrespect. Respect. It's a simple word, but let me tell you, it's the foundation of every healthy relationship. Without it, love, trust, and communication crumble. So, let's make this crystal clear. The second thing you should never do with a man is tolerate disrespect. Because the moment you allow someone to disrespect you, you're giving them permission to do it again. What does disrespect look like? Disrespect doesn't always come in loud, obvious ways. It's not just about someone yelling or calling you names. Sometimes, it's subtle. It's him rolling his eyes when you're speaking. It's him interrupting you mid-sentence. It's him brushing off your feelings as if they don't matter. These little things might not seem like a big deal at first, but over time, they add up. They chip away at your confidence and make you feel small. Why do we put up with it? Sometimes we let disrespect slide because we're afraid of confrontation. We tell ourselves, it's not worth the fight, or he didn't mean it. But here's the truth. Every time you excuse disrespect, you teach him that it's okay to treat you that way. The slippery slope. Have you ever seen someone put up with a little disrespect, only for it to escalate into something much bigger? Maybe it starts with him making jokes at your expense in front of his friends. You laugh it off to avoid awkwardness. Then those jokes turn into criticism. And before you know it, you're questioning your worth because you've allowed someone to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. How to demand respect. Speak up. Early. The first time someone crosses a line, call it out. Calmly but firmly say, I don't appreciate being spoken to like that. Know your non-negotiables. What are your deal breakers? Write them down and stick to them. Walk away when needed. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, no matter how much you care for them, it's time to leave. You can't fix someone who doesn't see an issue with their behavior. Remember this, respect isn't a gift, it's a standard, and if he can't give you that, he doesn't deserve you. Number 3, never put his needs above yours. Every time. All right, let's talk about a truth that might sting a little. If you're constantly putting his needs above yours, you're not being selfless. You're being unfair to yourself. And let me tell you something, ladies. Prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish. It's essential. The danger of overgiving. Have you ever found yourself bending over backward for someone else, only to feel completely drained? Maybe it's always saying yes when you really want to say no. Maybe it's dropping everything to cater to his needs while yours go unmet. It might feel noble in the moment, but over time, it creates an unhealthy imbalance. When you constantly prioritize someone else, 2 things happen. You teach them that your needs don't matter. You start to believe it yourself. The myth of the perfect partner society often teaches women to be the caretakers, the ones who make sure everyone else is okay, even if it means sacrificing themselves. But here's the truth. A healthy relationship is about partnership, not martyrdom. If you're always giving and never receiving, that's not love. It's self-neglect. How to strike a balance. Speak up about your needs. Communication is key. Don't assume he knows what you need. Sometimes people aren't neglectful. They're just unaware. Learn to say no. It's okay to say no to things that don't align with your priorities or well-being. Make time for you. Whether it's an evening to yourself, a hobby, or time with friends, make your needs a non-negotiable part of your life. A simple reminder, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself isn't just good for you, it's good for the relationship. When you're happy and fulfilled, you show up as your best self, and that's what a true partnership needs. Number 4, never stay silent. When something bothers you. Let's get real for a second. How many times have you swallowed your feelings because you didn't want to rock the boat? Maybe you thought, it's not a big deal, or I don't want to start a fight. Well, let me tell you something. Silence doesn't solve problems. It buries them. And eventually, buried problems become landmines, waiting to explode. Why do we stay silent? It's human nature to avoid conflict. Maybe you're afraid of how he'll react, or maybe you've convinced yourself that bringing it up won't change anything. But here's the thing. Every time you stay silent about something that bothers you, you're not just avoiding the issue, you're also denying yourself the chance to be heard. The cost of silence. When you don't speak up, resentment starts to build. You might not notice it right away, but over time, those unspoken frustrations pile up. One day, something small will happen and you'll explode. Not because of that one thing, but because of everything you've been holding in. And let's not forget, staying silent often teaches others that your feelings don't matter. That's not just bad for you, it's bad for the relationship. Healthy communication is the glue that holds two people together. How to speak up effectively. Choose the right time. Don't bring up serious issues in the heat of the moment. Wait until both of you are calm and ready to have a constructive conversation. Use I statements. Instead of saying, "You always ignore me," try, "I feel unheard when you don't respond to what I'm saying." It's less accusatory and opens the door for dialogue. Stay calm but firm. You can be respectful while still being direct. Remember, standing up for yourself doesn't mean you're being rude. It means you value your voice. A game-changing perspective. Your feelings are valid, your voice matters, and the right partner will listen, not just to respond, but to understand. If he doesn't, that's a red flag, and it's something you shouldn't ignore. Number 5, never try to change him. All right, let's get something straight. People don't change unless they want to. And trying to mold someone into the version of them you think they should be, that's not love, it's control. And let me tell you, it never ends well. Why do we try to change him? It usually starts with good intentions. You see his potential. Maybe he's not quite there yet, but you believe he can grow. You think, if I just push him a little, he'll become the man I know he can be. But here's the harsh reality. Loving someone for their potential means you're not truly accepting them as they are. The downside of playing fixer. When you try to change someone, two things happen. 1, you exhaust yourself. Constantly pushing, prodding, or hinting at change is draining, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. 2, you risk resentment. He might feel like he's not good enough as he is, and that can breed frustration on both sides. And let's not forget the bigger picture. What if he never changes? Are you prepared to live with the version of him he is right now? If the answer is no, it's time to reassess the relationship. Accepting him as he is. Ask yourself, do I love this person for who he is today, or for who I think he could become? Focus on yourself. Instead of trying to change him, focus on your own growth and happiness. Lead by example. Recognize red flags. If his behavior is toxic or harmful, that's not something you can fix. It's something you need to walk away from. A truth to live by. The right person doesn't need you to change them. They'll grow with you, not because of you. And the wrong person. They'll resist change no matter how hard you try. Number 6, never settle for less than you deserve. This is it, ladies, the golden rule, the one thing that ties everything together. Never, ever settle for less than you deserve. Because here's the truth. Settling isn't just about lowering your standards. It's about accepting a life that's less than what you're worth. And you're worth everything. Why do we settle? Sometimes it's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear of never finding someone better. Other times, it's self-doubt. We convince ourselves that maybe we're asking for too much, that we should just be grateful for what we have. But settling doesn't lead to happiness. It leads to regret. The consequences of settling. Unhappiness. When you settle, you'll always feel a lingering sense of dissatisfaction. You'll know deep down that you deserve more. Resentment. Over time, you may start to resent both yourself and your partner for accepting less than you wanted. Missed opportunities. By staying in a relationship that doesn't fulfill you, you might miss out on the one that truly could. How to refuse to settle. Know your worth. Take time to reflect on your values, your needs, and what you truly want in a partner. Set standards and stick to them. Write down your non-negotiables and don't let emotions cloud your judgment. Trust the process. Believe that the right person is out there and that you don't have to compromise your happiness to find love. The ultimate truth: the love you accept reflects how much you value yourself. So, value yourself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't meet your standards. Conclusion: the empowered you. Ladies, let me leave you with this. The most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. When you value who you are, when you protect your peace and set your standards, everything else falls into place. You attract the kind of love that uplifts you, not one that drains you. You draw in relationships that add to your happiness, not take away from it. You have the power to create the life and love you deserve. It starts with knowing your worth, setting boundaries, and refusing to accept anything less than respect, kindness, and reciprocity. Love isn't about losing yourself in someone else. It's about growing together while staying true to who you are. So, here's my final thought. Don't wait for someone to give you the love you deserve. Start by giving it to yourself. When you treat yourself with love, respect, and care, you set the tone for how others will treat you. And remember, you're not just worthy of love, you're worthy of the right love. Now it's your turn. What's one thing you'll start doing differently today to honor yourself in your relationships? Let me know in the comments, and let's inspire each other to live and love boldly. You've got this, and you're worth it. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay true to yourself, and never settle for anything less than extraordinary.